Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jake, and I'm pleased to be your host for today's Get to Know Professional Communication session as part of Ryerson's virtual open house, which is taking place from November 9th to 13th and 16th to 20th. There are many sessions taking place across these 2 weeks, so we encourage you to visit our website and register for any other sessions that might interest you. To start, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the land on which Ryerson stands. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. We read this land acknowledgement at the beginning of important on-campus events and meetings, and even though we're not physically on campus right now, we still feel it important to acknowledge the land on which Ryerson stands as a small part of our commitment to equity, diversity, inclusion, and reconciliation. Ryerson has shifted to an essential services model to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. We've put together a series of virtual sessions in order to share information and connect with you. Ryerson is working diligently to provide students with fulsome experiences while maintaining the health and safety of our community. So just a few Zoom housekeeping tips before we get started. We encourage you to ask questions. We have many faculty and staff members here to answer your questions. To do so, use the Q&A pod at the bottom of your Zoom window. Click the Q&A pod to open the dialog window and type your questions throughout the presentation. We'll also answer some live at the end. If you're having any audio or video issues, feel free to flag it in the Q&A pod and one of our staff members will assist you. You may rearrange the screen in any way that works best for you, and note that rearranging your screen does not impact the way that others are viewing this presentation. This presentation will be presented with closed captioning to ensure accessibility, and if you require closed captioning, please select that option at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Also note that recordings of this virtual open house session will be available on our website later on. So we'd like to know who's joining us today, so please take a moment to answer this poll, which I'm launching right now. There it goes. And that just sort of helps us to know, who's watching today. Are we watching students who are thinking about coming for next year in 2021, maybe further on in the future? Maybe you're the parent of a student who is here with us today. This just helps us out for our purposes. So we'll watch a few more of those responses come in. It's amazing. Thanks so much to everyone for participating in that. And now, without any further ado, I would like to introduce Jessica Moudry from our Professional Communication Department to come on and share some details about ProCom. So sorry, my poll is interfering with me, but please take it away, Jessica.
Thanks very much. Welcome, everybody. I see that we've got a goodly number of prospective ProCom students who are looking to apply for fall 2021, and let's cross all of our fingers and hope that that will be an in-person and unmediated experience. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit about, sorry, if we can just, there we go. So let's move on to the next slide there, if you don't mind. We're going to start with a bit of a sort of primer video about the kinds of things that ProCom is going to give you as an experience.
In ProCom classes, we generally learn how to analyze your audience and understand what they want and what they need in terms of communication. And then once you understand the wants and needs of an audience, you can better articulate your messages to share with them.
We're learning theories and theoretical approaches to analyze content and analyze the way that we're speaking and the way that our message is getting across, and then we can use that information and apply it to our projects.
ProCom students learn about how to craft specific messages and extract information from large data. So we learn how to write concisely and present information in a way that is exciting to the public.
Traditionally, communication had to do with spoken word, had to do with written word, but now there's a lot more available in terms of video, in terms of animation, in terms of color, in terms of sound. So these are all things that anyone, that a student can use to make information a lot more exciting for a broader audience.
Great. Okay, so let's just go through the agenda. So what we're going to do right now is we've kind of thought about this presentation as having 4 different parts. For the first section, I'm going to present to you some of the basics around the curriculum, so the kinds of experiences, academic experiences you're going to have over the course of your 4-year degree with us. Then we're going to move on, and I'm going to hand over the proverbial mic to one of my colleagues to talk about ProCom opportunities. So the other kind of ancillary benefits to being in ProCom, the other kinds of things you can do alongside your degree. And then we're going to talk about the media and technology that's available to you as a ProCom student. And then we've got some students who are actually going to talk about what it's like to be a ProCom student. So without further ado, let's hop right into the curriculum. So we can just, there we go. There we go. Okay, so if we want to move over to the next slide, actually. The first year that you arrive in ProCom in September, we have our little, hopefully, like I said, fingers crossed, we're going to have our in-person orientation. Everyone gets to meet everybody. You get to sort of liaise with some of the professors. You understand the lay of the land. And in your first semester of your first year, you've got 2 required courses. One is called CMN 200, the Craft of Professional Writing. And it's in this course where, and the assumption is that our students come in, not the assumption, it is in fact the case that our students come in with fairly high averages in English. And so the Craft of Professional Writing is really just thinking about things like narrative and genre and understanding how to write for a variety of audiences in a variety of professions. So we're really putting a finer point on writing as a skill. And that, as we'll see kind of going forward in the presentation, the focus on writing is quite, I mean, it's very important, but particularly in ProCom, the understanding of how language works within the context of both persuasion, audiences, and the world at large is what we focus on in CMN 200. Alongside that course, we've got another required course called CMN 210, Text, Image, and Sound, and that's a little bit more of I guess it's a little bit more of a holistic course in terms of understanding the context in which communication happens. So communication is not just the written word, as we focus on in the Craft of Professional Writing, but communication can also exist in images that we see around us, in sounds and symbols and signs that we hear around us or see around us, in addition to sort of the printed word. In the first semester of the first year, you've also got 3 electives. One is, and they come from sort of different baskets, I guess. One is a professionally related, what's called a professionally related table 2 elective. So we've got a sort of short list of electives that you choose from. And then the other 2 are open electives. And I would encourage you to, I don't like to use the word shop, but I encourage you to shop around. I encourage you to go and to look in different departments and take some of their introductory courses. Communication is such a flexible degree, both in terms of its curriculum, but also in terms of the ways in which it can be transposed onto other disciplines. We have some really interesting both professors and students who have, let's say, come with joint degrees or joint interests in, say, science and communication, or law and communication, finance and communication. So communication lends itself to helping other disciplines articulate messages and articulate and critique sort of products and sort of slogans and all of these things, because we give you the tools for that kind of analysis. In the second semester of your first year, we get a little bit more theoretical with CMN 211, Language and Power, whereby we look at the ways in which language can actually act as a tool to create and to sort of construct and deconstruct power structures in the world. And then we've also got a more historical look at the ways in which communication has happened over, millennia in CMN 216, looking at communication revolutions, whereby we look at when and where certain almost paradigm shifts happen in communication. When did we go from, papyrus to wax tablets to all of a sudden Instagram? So we map that trajectory. In addition, in semester 2, we've got 3 electives. 2 of them are from actually all of them are from those sort of shorter lists. So we kind of bound in your electives in second semester. of your first year. One is a professionally related table 2, one is from a different table, professionally related table 1, and one is a liberal studies. Next slide, please. So this is just an example. When students reach their 4th year, and we're going to see a little picture of that in a moment. When students reach their 4th year, they're quite adept at understanding audience, at understanding critique, at creating strategies for a variety of different disciplines, a variety of different industries. And this is one example actually from the Sherburne Health Center, which is actually a neighbor of Ryerson's. And these were students that I supervised for their last semester of their last year, kind of like a capstone project. They worked with Sherburne Health Clinic to create a promotional campaign for their health bus. So they've got a mobile health unit. And this was just a quote from the director of the center. The communication students brought tremendous passion, unique perspectives, and creative insights into how we can best communicate Sherburne's health bus program. We have even embedded their idea into our current strategy. And it's hard to tell just from this. If you can see on the screen there, those are 3 of the posters that they created for the mobile health bus campaign. But they also created a large booklet on sort of a communication analysis of what the health bus needs. They created color palettes. They created, again, various slogans. And Sherburne was so incredibly impressed that they said to me a little bit on the slide, but we cannot believe that we actually hired a professional communication company to do this. Your students did it better. And that's a real, I think it's a real feather in our cap, but I also think it's a real hallmark. Our students really do, particularly towards the end of their degree, have a toolbox of skills and a real facility and nimbleness insofar as they can look at a communication project like this and just attack it right away with these beautiful, beautiful results. Next slide, please. So this is probably a little bit overwhelming, but it shouldn't be, because so we've divided this up from year to year. The first year I went over in a couple slides ago, but you can see here, and I think this is important to focus on. The blue, so we see 2nd year and 3rd year and 4th year. We've got anywhere from 3 to 4 required courses for each of those years. And then all of the kind of rainbow at the bottom is indicative of the fact that, again, you've got a great deal of flexibility to look at courses in other departments. And it's not that we're encouraging you to go there at the expense of your communication courses, but you'll see very, very quickly that the communication courses lend themselves to doing those other courses better. You will go into economics an excellent writer, or you will go into a geography course with a critical and keen eye to analyze the problems at hand, and an ability to articulate and present those kinds of critiques in those other disciplines as well. Next slide, please. So because there's that sort of rainbow at the bottom of that previous slide, what we are able to do is take some of those electives and bundle them into, very easily in a lot of cases, doing a minor with communication studies. And so you can either add a focus to your ProCom BA, or you can add a minor. And some of the popular minors, as you can well imagine in ProCom, are public relations, marketing, fashion studies, health services management. And what we can do is maybe throw it into the chat, because I don't think it's a live link from anybody's screen right now, but you can actually take a look at some of the minors that we offer. And the list is incredibly long, truly, from A to Z. You can have a minor, and actually a lot of our students do both minors and double minors. So you can come out of the degree in communication with also a focus on, let's say, I'm just kind of making this up, in economics, in anthropology, in geography. And it really opens the doors to a lot of different avenues when you want to, when you finish your degree with us. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, after this video, I'm going to hand the mic over to Danielle Taylor, who's going to talk about ProCom opportunities, but we'll just show you something fancy to start.
In a world where the future is creative, There is one place that defines, disrupts, and empowers creativity. For 70 years, Ryerson's FCAD, in the heart of downtown Toronto, has been shaping the next generation of creators with authentic and innovative voices to become market-ready and seamlessly engage directly with creative industries around the world in life-changing and game-changing careers. Three-degree programs, visionary educators, hands-on masterclasses with icons, and global industry relationships that offer real-time innovation. FCAD produces in-demand and industry-ready graduates. FCAD is a place where everything you thought was creative is reimagined every day. FCAD, Ryerson University, the future of creativity.
All right. Thank you so much for that introduction, Jessica. And thank you for introducing a little bit about the program. I'll introduce myself. My name is Danielle Taylor. I'm hoping everybody can see me and that we are okay, we're good to go. But I am the Internship and Alumni Liaison here at the School of Professional Communication, and I'm really happy to share with you some interesting and exciting things that you can look forward to on top of the plethora of different topics and subjects that you can gain and that you can access through your degree. That video was very fitting since it does give you a taste of the broader faculty you are a part of, you will call home through the Faculty of Communication and Design, which is, again, the larger faculty, the creative faculty that ProCom is a part of. And through that, why that's exciting is because there are many opportunities that are made available, not only through the faculty, but also through the school, of which I'll jump right into. So the first being international exchange, which is available to ProCom students in their third year of studies. Essentially, it's important to note that the process starts in your second year. So if it's something that you are contemplating, know that the application process starts well in advance. And it really is an invaluable educational experience. It nurtures and develops really personal and professional growth. And it gives you the opportunity to immerse yourself in another culture and discover new alternate forms of thought, of creativity, ways to collaborate. And it's an exciting venture that, again, one of the many opportunities available to you. So you can check out more information on international exchange at Ryerson FCAD Outbound Exchange website. But the next slide that I'd like to invite you to check out is just a snapshot of some of the different areas and partnerships, rather, that ProCom has, or FCAD has, so that are available to ProCom students through international exchange. We've got campuses that are partnering with Ryerson in Australia, parts of Asia, many schools in Europe, the UK, I believe Singapore is on the list. So if you are looking to expand not only your personal but your professional frontiers, international exchange is, again, an opportunity that's available to you. Another opportunity that really is an exciting one, and one we get many questions about, and I'm sure an exciting or attracting factor for your application, is the internship. It is available to second or third year students. And just to note, the reason for that is because we want to allow students who would like to participate in the international exchange in their third year to be able to do an internship as well. So this is why we have opened it up recently to second year students. It's an elective course, so it goes towards one of the required, elective tables. So I think that's the colorful plethora of options that Jessica was pointing out earlier. But it is a full-time placement that takes place in the summer of your second or third year. So going into either your third year or going into your final year of studies. In terms of academic portion, there are a series of journals and a final report to submit. But what's exciting to know is who we get to partner with. And on the next slide, these are just some of the recurring partners that ProCom has had the pleasure of working with and of collaborating through internships. industries will vary, and you'll find the more you go through this degree that communications applies to everybody. Everybody must communicate, and that's even more so evident with what we're facing in the world today. But we have our interns in different financial industries right here on campus, and partnering campuses in Toronto, whether that be virtual or in person, from healthcare, not-for-profit, media, entertainment, broadcast. Again, we are creative thinkers, and we empower our students to be able to utilize the skills in whatever industry they so choose. And through the internship, they have the opportunity to really gain that professional work experience. So a third opportunity that is available to students is through the Center of Communicating Knowledge. And really what they are is a service-based hub. Really, they are a knowledge mobilization unit that develops creative and innovative ways of communicating research. So it's actually housed within the School of Professional Communication, but on a broader scale, what they do is they employ students from all over FCAD to help develop very creative communications to researchers, or to assist researchers in getting their knowledge and getting their research across. So again, this is another opportunity available to you as a ProCom student, and again, one that's made possible through the connections at FCAD. So with that, I'd like to hand it off and invite my colleague James to talk a little bit about the media and technology that you can look forward to when you start your studies here at ProCom. James?
Hi, everyone. My name is James Loney. I'm the lead of creative technology here at the School of Professional Communication. And if we jump to the next slide, I'll tell you a bit about what we do. Okay, so just to give you a sense of what we kind of loosely define as creative technology, for us, it's technology that supports sound, so what we hear, image, what we see, and text, what we write in digital spaces. Our clients are ProCom students, and I feel that it's important to mention that because at a lot of universities, you might have a large central IT department where you're kind of just a number. For us, we actually get to know the students. We'll work with our students one-on-one, get a sense of how they like to work with technology. So in the end, they can better communicate their messages through creative technology. We have a large infrastructural component to what we do. So we design and integrate rich technology into the courses like Photoshop, like video editing. But we also build the learning spaces where our students get to learn. So we call them Flex Labs, flexible learning spaces where ProCom students can thrive and have that sense of community, and of course use technology in that learning space. Something I like to point out is we've all come from industry. I worked in professional communication and broadcast. Nicole's worked as a creative producer, but we all bring our experience into our training sessions. And let's go ahead to the next slide. Okay, so just to give you a sense of what we're doing with our students, a lot of it is one-on-one support or leading workshops. So this kind of overview gives you a sense of common questions we might get from students. I won't read them all out to you, but I want you to know that you're not going to be a button pusher by the end of this program. We're going to make you struggle with technology and help you better express your messages through that struggle, but you're not going to become like a master of templates. You're going to learn to work with tools and speak the language of design as you work with those tools. And let's jump to the next slide. Okay, so for us, there's a lot of key tools or key resources that we utilize in the program. Right now, of course, we're 100% online. So we're using Adobe Creative Cloud. All of our students have a license on their home computer that they're able to use. This gives them access to Photoshop, Premiere, Adobe Audition for audio editing. And of course, we will walk you through all phases of the learning process for those applications. You're not on your own. You don't have to come in having become a Photoshop guru. Certainly, it's nice if you have those skills, but we're going to walk you through the basics from day one and get you to that level of proficiency with the tool. Of course, we utilize a mobile infrastructure. So laptops are key for what we do. Our spaces are mobile. We don't see a lot of fixed furniture. They're dynamic, just like our students. So laptops are essential. So we'll ask you to bring a high power laptop. And of course, we use a lot of cloud-based resources. Okay, so whether it be blogging tools or our online kind of video distribution tool, we use a lot of secure cloud-based resources to enhance the quality of our courses. Okay, I've talked a lot about technology, but that's it for me.
Thank you, James. So I'm going to take over now. My name's Laura, and I'm the departmental assistant at the School of Professional Communication. And I'm also a graduate of the BA program as well. So I was a student. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about student life. So next slide. Perfect. So a little bit about campus and community. So where is ProCom located? We are located in the Rogers Communications Center on the 3rd floor. So there's a few photos here of our space, and James talked a little bit about, like active learning space, and this is what we provide our students. So I know firsthand that this is a great space for students to collaborate with each other. It's called our ProCom Practicum Center, and the two bottom photos were taken in this space. And it's a space just for ProCom students, so you're able to collaborate with students from every year in ProCom in here, and it's just for ProCom students. So it's a really great area for collaboration, student work, group meetings, things like that. So that's a little bit about our campus and community. If we go to the next slide. So this is a video that will play. It's about Signify, which is our 4th year-end show. I'll let the video explain sort of, what our students look forward to and what they work towards in their 4th year as a culminating full year project. So you can listen here.
You look around the room, you've got communication in academic context, you've got communication in creative industries. I saw a lot of health contexts as well, so it's really, really interesting to see our students being so flexible, and being able to move from one place to another is amazing.
With all the classes that we've been given through research methods and how to craft stories with rhetoric and how to create narratives that capture audiences, it creates research projects that aren't just dense information. It takes you on a story through problems and issues within our society and how tools and technology can help solve them, and backing that up with actual evidence. You're able to do that in a very concise and very informative manner that's enjoyable for all parties. So it did prepare us for something as monumental as this research project.
Perfect. So in that video, you heard a little bit from one of our past students, Kyle, and he talked about the opportunities that you get within ProCom, but there are also so many other external opportunities in and around campus. So there's student groups, things like our Professional Communication Course Union, which is a student-led group that runs events for students. And for anyone on campus, really, to get involved and to get sort of the other experience that you want at university other than your academics. Yeah, I don't know if Jem has anything she wants to add as well. We have a student here chiming in about student experience.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say to get as involved as you can, and just be open to the experience and taking on any opportunities that Laura spoke to. So.
Awesome, thanks, Jem. So if we go to the next slide, I think we're just opening up the floor for some questions. So I don't know if Jake is coming back, and Danielle, Jessica, James, we're here to answer any questions live. I know people have been answering questions throughout the presentation on the chat, but we're here as well to speak to those.
Absolutely. Thanks, Laura. So yeah, we've gotten a number of questions in the Q&A pod, and everyone, if you have more questions, this is a really great opportunity to ask the faculty and staff from the ProCom department, whatever it is you'd like to know about the program. So keep plugging in those questions, but I'm going to start posing some of the ones that we have. So someone has asked, are students able to do an internship as well as the international exchange?
That's a great question, and I think I might have touched on that in haste and plowed through it in my piece. But yes, absolutely. Essentially, the international exchange is only available to students in their third year of studies. So you would have to do or complete your internship in the summer. I guess in the summer of your second year, so going into your third year. This is because most of the campuses, the international institutions that we're partnered with, you would tend to their fall or their summer courses would overlap with when the internship runs. I believe it's their winter term or their second term. So short answer, yes, you are able to do both an exchange and an internship if you apply and are successful in your candidacy. But you would be doing the exchange in your third year and internship in your second year. Hope that helps.
Fantastic. Thanks for that answer. Someone's asked, would a student in the ProCom program be able to pursue a career in broadcasting, or would they have to be in the journalism program?
I'll touch on that. I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in, but like broadcast and communication, I think broadcast specifically is a very specific discipline. So if you were looking to do, hard news, media house, like teleprompters, video, then, we have a very successful and longstanding journalism school. However, we are here about ProCom, and with communications, you have a lot more flexibility. You wouldn't have the specific disciplines that come with, being in a media or a newsroom. However, with the flexibility of a communications degree or with a ProCom degree, you could take certain elements and utilize or leverage some of those experiential opportunities to do communications in a newsroom or in a broadcast setting. Would they be able to pursue a career in broadcasting? Absolutely. With a professional communications degree, you could, and many often do. I wouldn't say many, I don't have the numbers, but I know of a few graduates or even those who are in, maybe not broadcast, but work in newsrooms or with broadcast companies. So it's absolutely something that they can leverage with their degree. And again, I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in, John or Jessica, but I would say yes, you can pursue a career in anything with a degree in professional communication, because again, you have the skills and the knowledge to be able to apply to any discipline.
I can add to that. I'm not able to start my video at the moment, but you can hopefully hear me. So we, as Danielle said, we do have students who work in broadcasting. I know one, actually, I heard from one just a few days ago, actually, who works for Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment and does video for them. He's an he is an on-screen personality for MLSE, but I would say the advantage with ProCom over a more focused broadcasting degree is that you'd be able to develop more strategic elements within the broadcast industry. So even if you're not an on-camera personality, you could be working in terms of the broader communication strategy for a broadcast organization. Is one of the, I think, advantages of ProCom, as well as doing social media for broadcast organization, doing outreach, doing fundraising, doing social media analytics, and all kinds of other things within that industry, as well as many others.
Thanks so much, John. I apologize, everyone. I didn't get a chance to introduce. This is the chair of the School of Professional Communication, John Shiga, who is here to answer questions if you have any as well. Thanks again, John. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Danielle.
Great, thanks to you both for that one. The next question I have is this program more lab-based or lecture-based?
Okay, I guess I could speak to that one as well. ProCom is unique in that it gives students a mix of both lecture formatted courses as well as creative studios and labs. So actually, when Jessica went through the first year of the program, that's actually one of the things that really sets ProCom apart from many other communication programs, is that in your first year, you already have some quite small classes with more of a lab or creative studio type of experience. Quite often, your first year, you're in 300, 400 person lecture halls. In our case, you're actually in classes of 35, 40 students in the required courses, which helps to build community as well. So right off the start, you get that close-knit experience and more interaction with your instructors. And we have those throughout the program as well, especially when it comes to some of the skills that James was talking about around video, around social media and web development and that kind of thing.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. We've got a couple more people who are interested in sort of specific career paths. So one person's asked, would a ProCom student be able to pursue a career in mass events production, such as music festivals or tours?
Yeah, I did see a couple of those questions come up. And I guess in answer to all of those questions, I think there was one from Renata. I believe somebody had asked about advertising and copywriting, but the answer is yes. Yeah, specifically for this current question. So in mass events productions, music festivals and tours, absolutely. As John sort of alluded, there was a more, if you are, for example, the question that came in regarding broadcast, you might be able to take a more strategic approach or a strategic role in a broadcast environment. Similarly, the skills that you learn, they're definitely applicable and are often utilized in music, media, entertainment industry. So just a few examples of some different organizations and some different roles that current alumni, both BA and MPC, so our master's program as well, hold. But corporate public relations manager, project managers, a lot of communications coordinators, digital content coordinators. I think there was a question that came in regarding design. I think John mentioned that we have alumni at MLSE, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, the Ontario Medical Association, Bell Media, Hudson's Bay Company, TD Canada Trust. We've got a lot of broadcast media coordinators, digital freelancers. This is just, again, a short list of some of the current careers that our alumni hold. So I'm sure there are a lot more questions about career paths. The long and short of it is yes. It doesn't have to have communications in the title, but you can definitely apply your communication skills to any industry and to any career vocation. So hope that helps.
Yeah, I actually want to chime in on that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. That was an excellent way to describe it, Danielle. For me, myself, that is something that I'm working towards, working in music festivals and all that live stuff. So that's really interesting to see that come up. I found that the program's really helped with that in terms of preparing me for more, I guess, like managerial roles in that sense, especially when I communicate with people in the music industry or people like just like audience members or something like that. So ProCom's been able to provide the skills and like the freedom as well to take courses outside of the course or the program to learn about the music business and to learn about kind of how to plan things strategically in that sense. So yeah, ProCom offers a lot of space for you to grow creatively in that sense and to build your own connections within the music industry or whatever industry you're into while you're trying to pursue your passion. So I'm excited. That's a great question. That got me really pumped up. So.
Thanks, Jem. I love that.
Thanks for mentioning that, Jem. So this is a good point too, just to mention briefly that if you join ProCom, you'll be joining at a time where we'll be making an important change to the program, which is that our students will be taking 3 FCD courses, which are FCAD-wide electives. And that's a big list of electives in all kinds of media, communication, and design areas, including a live event super course that runs in both the fall and the winter. It's a 2-semester course that focuses exactly on this area.
Incredible. Thanks everyone for weighing in on that one. One question that we have is this a good program for those who enjoy or are good at writing?
In short, yes, definitely. Definitely. It's actually something that we've been quite deliberate about in terms of making sure that it's embedded writing skills, both academic and professional, are embedded in each year of the program. And we're hearing from our industry advisors as well that's actually very smart to maintain a strong core in writing, because no matter how many different technologies are introduced into the industry, you can't get around writing. Being a strong writer is absolutely crucial in the communications industry, and so we've built that in. So you'll be writing research papers and more traditional academic types of things, but you'll also be learning how to write a lot of types of documents that are common in the communications industry, like communication plans, briefing notes, media scans and summaries, press releases, all kinds of different documents like that, as well as more creative and persuasive types of writing as well that are meant to engage audiences. And I think Kyle's part in that video that we showed you in Signify speaks to that, how you can use storytelling to really engage, inform, and persuade your audience. So yes, absolutely. Writing is a core part of the program.
Now I have a follow-up question that's somewhat related. Someone says the program seems super interesting, but I'm concerned about the writing courses as that's not my strength. So on the flip side, if we have a student who is a little bit concerned about their level of writing, or they sort of need some extra support, are there systems in place to get them that support?
Absolutely. So yeah, even though writing is core to the program, we have a very diverse student body who are coming in with all kinds of talents, but also all kinds of unique challenges as well that they need support with. So that is a common one. Having to build up writing skills, especially in the first semester, first year of the program. That's actually not unusual at all for students to struggle a little bit with writing, and we've got lots of supports within the school. And maybe Laura, you could chime in on this one as well, outside of ProCom as well at Ryerson. Support for that area.
Yeah, actually, if you flip to the next slide as well, Jake, I just wanted to have this one up so that you can follow us and check out our prospective students page. But in terms of writing support, Ryerson has a writing center. So if you're ever unsure or you want something to have a second look, we have people at Ryerson that can help you with that. So yeah, and also your professors are always available in their office hours if you ever want to run, ideas by them and things like that. They're a really great resource to help you stay on track with writing.
And we do have in ProCom, another thing that's unique about the first year is we have a course called The Craft of Professional Writing, which is, like I was saying earlier, it's one of the first year courses that's quite small, maybe 35, 40 students or so. And that gives you a chance to work on writing skills in a kind of what we call an iterative process. So you write, your prof will not only grade it, but provide quite detailed feedback. And then you have an opportunity to revise. And so your professor actually gets to know you and your writing skills quite well and knows which areas to help you focus on. So right off the bat, that's something that we really try to do to support the students.
Great, thanks everyone. Someone asks, do you have to be proficient in technology to be successful in this program?
Well, by the time you graduate from the program, you will definitely be proficient in the use of many different types of technologies. But no, you don't have to come in. We don't expect our students to have previous experience working with things like Adobe Creative Cloud. I would say it's about half and half. Some students have some exposure to it in high school and others don't. And so the curriculum's designed, especially in the first couple of years, to really, pitch the technology skills at an introductory level and build them up gradually through the program. I don't know, James, or if anybody else wants to comment on that one as well.
Yeah, I'll just add to it a bit. We'll work with whatever you give us, right? If you come in with advanced skills, we'll take you to the next level and we'll really guide you through maybe some other options. But if you have zero skills, we'll also get you to that kind of basic proficiency. We work with your passion.
Great answer. Thanks, everyone. someone says, I want to do an exchange. If I want to do an exchange in Germany, do I need to have a specific level of German?
Great question. No, all of the campuses that we partner with, the courses and instruction is done in English. So all of the courses and all of the equivalents that you'll be taking, but there will be a language immersion opportunity. So I believe at least one of your classes, and I'm not sure if Dan or Laura can speak on that, but I understand that there is an academic portion. You have an option to do like a language course, but obviously just being in Germany or whatever country you're in, you'll definitely pick up on your German. But no, that's not required. All of the course instruction will take place in English. They're English taught in all of the campuses.
Great, thank you. Yeah, definitely having at least some basic German would be a good idea so you can feed yourself once you're over there. But yeah, fantastic. Someone has said, could you elaborate on the capstone project in the final year? So sort of what's entailed there, what do students get to do, things like that.
I can start. Some people might want to jump in, but so it's basically like a culmination of all your skills you learn throughout ProCom in your 4th year. It's a research project, so of your choosing. So it's an area of interest in communication that you choose, and you learn the skills to conduct research in that area, and then not only putting it all together in written form, but also we have a showcase where you have another deliverable, which is your poster. So, and you are responsible for creating that. And so it kind of combines both your research, writing, communication with your creativity, design, and all of that comes together for a year-end show where you're also able to connect with professors, other students, and industry members that we invite to attend the show and see your wonderful work. So I don't know if anyone else has anything to add or if there's any follow-up questions, but that's kind of the overall gist, I think, of the research project.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, Laura. And it also provides students with an opportunity, connecting to the earlier previous question, in event planning. So the students actually play a key role in developing the kind of, each of our year-end shows has a kind of unique brand the students create as a group, and they develop the visual brand style for the whole show. They do the communications. They really do take it's a student-led year-end show, which is an amazing experience for them, and in terms of skills development, but I also think in terms of community, working together on something of that scale.
Great, thanks so much. So it was mentioned in the presentation that the faculty tends to come from the industry, right? They tend to have a lot of experience and be sort of passing that on to their students. Someone's asking, what type of industry experience does the faculty have? Are there some key flashy examples of what people have done in the past before their lives as professors at Ryerson?
Absolutely. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say, we have I'm back. I apologize for blacking out there for a while. We have a great deal of, we have a really, really interesting professoriate insofar as not just are they sort of, thank you. Not just are they amazing academics. For example, the Hitchbot project from a couple of years ago, where we had our colleague Frau Kotzella, who developed a hitchhiking robot who hitchhiked across Canada and then across parts of Europe, and unfortunately met a timely end, I believe, in Philadelphia as they were hitchhiking across the United States. So there's a real applied sense of people's research, but we've had just from my own experience, I used to actually work as a television producer and a science communication sort of researcher at the Discovery Channel in Canada and the BBC in the UK. We've got, researchers who in past lives have been writers. Many of us are authors. In fact, all of us are authors. John, can you think of some other sort of
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, yeah, the list goes on, but I'm thinking of our two newer faculty are just hired this year. Uh, Dave Colangelo, who in addition to being a professor here at Ryerson, runs the public visualization studio, which is kind of a massive media agency that does public displays using that are data based. So if you drive by the CN Tower, you can see the LED facade that goes up it, and it can light up in all kinds of different colors. And Dr. Colangelo's team has done events using that display that connects to social media so that the public actually trigger how the CN Tower looks at night. So that's one example of somebody who's really got one foot in both worlds, professional and academic.
I think also we have two lawyers. I mean, two trained lawyers in our tiny little school. We have two lawyers, Opie Conby and Gregory Levy are both lawyers. And Gregory actually, who has started his own company in medical communication called Figure One. So he actually ends up hiring a good number of students over their degrees as well. So sometimes it's actually worth answering this question, John, for us to remind ourselves how illustrious our faculty really is.
That's so cool. I'm still blown away about that CN Tower example. That's awesome. That's a really cool one. Someone's asking, looking for an answer about if there are mature students. Not that folks out of high school aren't mature, this asker says. So yeah, is there a diversity of sort of perspectives within the students within your program in that way?
I don't know if Jem is still on the call. There he is.
I mean, I came in as a mature student. I started when I was 21 or 22, and I found that there is a great variety of people that I came across that were different ages, and we all just got along too. So you start to develop that kind of community with everyone, and you're all in the same boat. And those are kind of lifelong friends that I have till this day. So yes, there are, and there's no shame in that. I embraced it. I loved it. It's the best. So if that's what you are, more than welcome.
More power. Yeah, and we have a lot of students that transfer to ProCom after 1 or 2 years of study, and that's natural with any. Even my undergraduate discipline was not in professional communication, but I jumped ship a little bit. And so we do find that we have a number of students who might transfer from other schools. Maybe they thought they wanted to do something, or they realize that they can have more flexibility with the ProCom program. So they may have a few years under their belt, whereas they're starting in the first year of ProCom studies, already having had a few years of university under them. So yes, definitely mature students, transfer students, we welcome you all.
Great, thanks. So some people are interested to know, how is learning in this program different now since work from home, since the pandemic hit? Obviously, we're not able to do things the same way that we were before. And we mentioned I remember James mentioned the creative suite that students are able to use from home. But yeah, can we talk a little bit about that shift to working from home and what the students' learning looks like nowadays?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually depends on the course. Each of our instructors worked very hard over the summer to really tailor the format of the virtual delivery to the learning objectives of the course. So, it actually varies quite a bit depending on which course we're talking about. I would say that in most cases, it's a mix of synchronous and asynchronous. So there's a live component to the class, but there's also something that can be done, whether it's, watching a recorded lecture, doing an activity, collaborating, online with other students, something that can be done outside of class time and that the students can kind of arrange on their own time. And that seems to be working quite well in terms of giving, for students to fit this into their very, their new normal, whatever that is, right, at home. So that's been a really I think really great to see our instructors trying to be so flexible. The other thing that I should mention is that our staff have worked really hard to make all of our events virtual. So I don't think we've canceled any of our events. We've run them all in some shape or form in the virtual environment. And I would say, of course we want to be back in person. Of course we want to see each other again and interact with our students in person. But the silver lining of all of this is that we've discovered a lot of really amazing things about what's possible in the virtual environment, both in terms of teaching and in terms of our events. So we actually have our awards night tonight. That's why this is top of mind. And our staff have gone way beyond expectations to make this not just the same thing that we would do in person, but online, but a totally redesigned event that takes advantage of all of the virtual tools for interaction and engagement. So student life, I think, is doing quite well given the circumstances because of all of that work that's been going on.
If I can just follow up too with that, because it's true, we do have our events night tonight, or our awards night tonight, but which will be a lot of fun, undoubtedly, and it'll have a different background. But what I think is important to note is that we offer in ProCom a variety of different kinds of classes in terms of size. And so even though we've switched to an online environment, it's kind of, each of the classes look different, even though they're in an online format, because if we were in person, all of the classes would look different based on the size. So, if you have a large lecture format where it's very much a speaker at the front of the classroom, engaging with the students in that kind of podium kind of way, it looks quite different than, say, a smaller seminar class where you've got, say, 20 to 30 kids, and you're all sitting around discussing and unpacking, some ideas or readings or things like that. And I think that what our professors have done really, really well is taken the model that they know they would teach the class in person and adapted it to the online format. And I think that students, from what the students I've spoken to so far this semester, have actually found that even though the medium is exactly the same, you're kind of sitting in front of a screen, which is what we're all doing all day, the classes themselves and the format themselves look very different from class to class, which I think is good. So we're doing our best.
Absolutely. And you'd sort of think, if anything, in this digital world, that's a chance for this faculty to flex its strengths, right? All this digital communication that we've all got to be doing nowadays is playing right into the hands of the ProCom students. So yeah, good stuff all around. We're right at 12:57, so we're pretty close to the end of this session. We're going to try closing up in a few minutes. And we've pretty well run through the questions that were flagged to answer live. So before we go, I just want to ask, is there anything else that you all would like to say as sort of parting words to the people who came to the session today? Anything you wanted to say that you didn't get to? Sorry.
That's great. I just have a quick note. So our social here at Ryerson ProCom, if you have questions, burning questions that we haven't answered, feel free to send us a message on there and we'll get back to you hopefully as soon as possible. But yeah, so in case you have anything else that's burning, you didn't get answered, feel free to shoot a message there.
And I would just say thank you, everyone, for participating in this. And these are really great questions. And as Laura says, if there are any others that arise, we're always available to answer them. ProCom's a great place. It's really a one-of-a-kind program, and it was the first of its kind in Canada, and I think it still is, in terms of this balance of practice and career-oriented skills and the academic rigor and research and critical thinking that you would expect from a university program. So I do hope that you consider applying.
All right, great. Thanks, everyone. So yeah, I want to say thanks so much to all of our panelists and presenters for such a great session. So we're now going to shut down our audio and video, meaning that you won't be able to see or hear us, but we will still be online until the end of the hour to answer any questions that you may have. So feel free to submit those questions through the Q&A pod up until 1 p.m. And I encourage you to make note of any answers to your questions before the webinar ends, because those will not be part of the recording. So on behalf of Ryerson University, thank you once again for joining us today, and we hope to see you in other sessions later on this week. Take care, everyone.